Welcome to our third in the series of this webinar series after the update. A couple of weeks ago, we did sales repair order. Last week, we did sales order allocation. This week, we're going to kind of have a general discussion about some of the other features that we added during the update, and as well as open it up for questions. Okay, so without further ado, we're going to start. So one of the things that we added to the order time system, something that we had in all orders, was the ability to kind of manage consignment inventory that you own that's in your customer location. So you can, you would typically have, if that's your business model, you would have each one of your customers you can set up as a location, and then the primary billing address can be associated with that location. Okay. So basically, you're transferring inventory to your customer. Maybe it's on a sales order that you transfer that. You transferred inventory to your customer, and now you want to determine, how much they have left in inventory, and send them an invoice, and maybe have a restocking. So if you're dealing with a lot of inventory, it's kind of hard to manage. So what we have is called a consignment worksheet, right? So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to go into preferences, sales, advanced, and you're going to uncheck that. That will enable the consignment. And you'll also be able to have the consignment list. So I'm going to create a new consignment here. Right. And then I just, like normal, I would pick a customer. And this customer is automatically associated with New York. That's their location that we set up for them. And what we're going to see here is essentially what looks like a count. And basically, that's the way it should operate. Now, typically, what people will do, and let me just reorder this. They'll go along and they'll count the inventory that they have left. So if they have 0 left here, sold 1, they have 0 counted left, right? So they sold 1 and counted as left. You can either enter counted, or you can enter actually what's sold. And then here, these little 2 things here is if they want to they don't want this, they want to return it, we can return it to one of the warehouses. Okay. So we can do that. This one, because they sold it, we're going to restock it from HQ. So what we have here is kind of 3 things happening at the same time. We've sold one of these. We want to create an invoice for that. They want to return one of these. They have 9. They want to return it. So there's a transfer there. And then we have to send one back to them. That's another transfer. So just like the count, we approve it and we click finalize. And so now basically we're at the ship dock. So this is now the ship dock that was created with 1 unit, the price, just like a regular ship dock. Let's go back to the consignment and we go to link transactions. We'll see also a number of a transfer. So the first transfer, like I said, we wanted to restock this. So we have from HQ to New York, which is where the location is. So that is now gets stock there. Back to that, and then we have another transfer, this time from New York to HQ, because again they wanted to return that, and that's basically the consignment. Okay. So it allows you to kind of in one screen manage a bunch of different things with regard to whether a customer has actually sold something, we have to invoice them, or they want to return it, or we need to restock it. Okay. So that's a consignment. All right. I hope there's you can. I don't know when you want to accumulate the questions, but we can do that later on. Okay, so that's number one, and that's really kind of a functionality. There are some customers that might benefit from this if they have a heavy duty consignment. Thinking maybe companies that distribute wigs. We have a few wig companies. That's heavy duty on the consignment. Jewelry companies is another thought where consignment is sent to stores, and then some kind of reconciliation has to be done at the location or whatnot. Obviously, you can carry your iPad there and do the reconciliation right there at the customer location. Okay, so that's consignment. All right. Another thing that a couple of customers have asked for, and we're happy to oblige, which is the validating of the US addresses. This only works for US addresses. Okay, so I'm going to check that. Okay, we're going to validate the addresses. So now when I'm going to create a new customer, and we'll put in the address here. I'll just leave that out. I'll leave out the unit. And I'll copy that. And when I save it, it gives me this pop-up, whether I want to kind of accept the mailing address as is, or, so I'm going to cancel that. I'm going to put that back to B. I'll save that. That works. And every time I make a change, actually, it should pop up with that. There it is. So I can replace and save, and that gives me kind of more kind of granularity, and it gives me this, the whole shipping address, and so you can validate it that way. And that works for US addresses only at this time. Okay. So that's that. We also expanded in terms of some support. By the way, all of these things you can find at our help. And Michael will send you this. All the updates and everything here is on our help, so you can definitely take a look at that. But what we've done, you may have noticed when you log in, two-factor authentication. So that's one piece that we did. In roles, you can also do two other things. One, you can add IP restrictions. So an IP restriction is basically, let's say you want for a particular role that they have to work from your location, and that you have a static IP address, an IP address that doesn't change. So sometimes if you're mobile, you go in different locations, your IP address will change. But you can add a static IP address, and basically if they try to log in from, let's say, home, your IP address is whatever from the office, they try to log in from home, they would not be able to do so. Okay, so that is IP restrictions. Right, so basically all you have to do is just add the IP address if you know it. It has to be the numerical IP address. And if you don't know your IP address, you can Go like that, and it'll tell you exactly what your IP address is. All righty. Then, in addition to that, IP addresses, again, around the same, if you want workers or people, your users to work, or this particular role, um, to kind of restrict them for weekends only, or we can enable times. So you can, if you just want them to log in during the business day, you would set it up like so. And that's IP restriction. All righty. So that is, so again, you can look at some of that again in this article, and there's also individual articles here. There's another one over here, and again, Michael will send you those, kind of fully going through all the advanced security features that we've implemented during this system. All right, now reports. We've added a couple of new sources of reports. In particular, you see the repair order, the consignments, if you had it, consignment, fulfillment batch, the counts, the quantity adjustments, the value adjustments. On sales orders reports now, open sales order reports, you can show the open balances. So we've added some things there as well. Turn back on the production here. So production, we've added some more kind of quick links on the side here as well. So that is kind of some of the things that we've added in terms of that. So we've expanded the batch actions. So there's more options now for batch action. All right. Allocation, change status, export, PDF, email. So you'll take a look at your list to see what we've done in terms of adding more batch actions. And I know that there's a lot of people that are requesting delete the bat action, but kind of reluctant to do that right away, because someone can just easily go like that and then delete inadvertently something. So the fact that they have to delete one at a time is maybe annoying, but it is kind of safer. All right. A couple of other things. Gateways. All right. So gateways, depending on your gateway type, in the ones that I have enabled here, you can do now enable ACH or e-checks, meaning firstly, you have to have that enabled in your gateway. Right. So authorized.net has it, QuickBooks Payment has it. I think one other we do that. So you just kind of enable that, and you don't have to really worry about that. So I would uncheck that for now. But basically, once you have that checked, you can now create your payment methods. Here. Now you have, if it's an ACH. So now you have credit card, cash or check, and ACH. Okay. That means that instead of, whatever dialogue, so if it's an ACH payment, I can add that. Okay, as usual, you can map your accounts, and that would be, oh, I already have one. So now we'll do take a look at a ship doc here. Old ship doc. Okay. So there's the back, the routing number, the bank account number, kind of looks the same, but it, now it's a different dialogue. So that's ACH. Some of the other things, support login, you can revoke it. What time, when it expires. Okay. A couple little things in the custom field. If it's a quantity, you're now allowed to make it negative. Negative quantities will work now. So that's important. Some of the preferences that we kind of expanded on a little bit. Some people, they don't want to see on ship docs things that are zero. So you can kind of remove those, right? And that's the same thing for receiving as well. You can do that for receiving. So if you don't want to see all the back orders, quantity zeros on your ship docs, you would check that box. The same thing for receivers. Okay, that's that box over there. So that's that. And then we have the auto allocations. Okay, so the auto allocations mean that that means that, let's say, from a linked PO to a sales order, we can do two things. We could automatically allocate it in terms of allocate it to the sales order, or create the ship doc. So that would be under purchasing, and it's these preferences over here. After creating a dropship PO, create the corresponding ship doc. So that's if you have a dropship PO, you don't have to worry about creating that ship doc. It'll be created for you. And then this is for linked POs, creating the corresponding ship doc or allocating to the corresponding work order, because you can link a PO to a sales order and a work order. Okay, so that's one option. And the other option is, instead of doing the ship doc, you can do the allocation to the sales order to the work order. So those are time savers that, and also kind of prevent you from forgetting to create that ship doc or allocate that sales order once that PO gets received. Okay. So that is kind of the 20 minutes that I have allocated to review some of the changes. I'd like to now open it up for some questions. Q&A.
Yeah, so today we've gone over consignment, the customer address validation, the advanced security features, some of the extra features that have been added during the patch, like the ACH and the batch actions, and new changes to custom fields and company preferences. So we're open floor now for any questions, even ones about some of the previous webinars, because this is the third and final webinar in this series.
Any question?
Mm-hmm.
Question number 1. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you, Kurt. Go ahead.
Okay. With the consignment inventory, how do I know what they sold? Do I have to enter this manually, or can I import a goods sold list?
Have we done the consignment import line item? That's the question. That's a good question. I don't know. We can add that. We have the count line item. I don't know. We never did the consignment line item, but we'll take a look at that. Okay, good question. Thank you, Kurt. For now, you have to import it manually. You have to add it manually.
Second question.
Mhm.
I have now the feature that I can use e-checks and the ACH payment.
Yes.
So I have here a big conflict. Payment and receiving and all this stuff, money was always the task from QuickBook. So my question is, when would I use ideally this new function?
Well, it's all a matter of, you know, the individual tasked with collecting payment from a customer in terms of where they're going to be working. And the truth of the matter is that if you know, for some customers, the workflow is they have a salesperson and they collect the payment right when they're doing the sales order. And there's other situations where, and also you can send a payment request too, right? So you can also send a payment request with ACH, okay? And there's other situations where an invoice goes in, it's on credit, and a bookkeeper or whatnot, you know, is in QuickBooks and they're collecting payment, which is fine. They can do it in either program, and you can synchronize. That's one of the only transaction types that go back and forth between QuickBooks and order time.
Oh, okay, so
And
it synchronizes
yes,
with QuickBooks.
yes. So see this here?
Yeah.
If you uncheck this, which is by default, the payments will synchronize with QuickBooks. So you can enter a payment in QuickBooks and we'll bring that payment and add it as a payment in order time.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, and we have a question in chat. When you create the sales order, you're saying now there's a feature to create the ship doc automatically. When does it come out of your inventory? When it creates the ship doc, or if I press the allocation button at the top of the sales order?
Okay, so in our system, when you mean comes out of inventory, that we have to define that a little bit more, okay? Because there's several statuses for inventory. There's available and there's on hand.
Okay, so you can hear me
You're
now.
talking about available, right?
Yes, I'm talking about like whenever I pull a report for available to sell.
Okay, so the answer to your question is it's either when you create a ship doc or when you press the allocate button.
Okay, so either or.
Correct.
Okay, but y'all have a feature now that you said will automatically create a ship doc, right?
When you do a link PO.
Okay.
When you do a link PO, yes. Could automatically create the ship doc. If you have a link PO here, so let me see if I can get that working. Under purchasing, after creating a drop, you want to do drop ship or link? Or just a drop ship. We'll do a drop ship.
Okay.
So we approve that. And we'll create our link PO as a drop ship. Right, so I press that, and go create. Now I'm going to do my ship doc. Nope, no, I don't want to do my ship doc. Shoot. I skipped a step. So now I'll go back to my purchase order. And I'm going to receive my purchase order.
Okay.
I should see. Is a ship doc. Here it is. I didn't have to go back and create the ship doc independently.
Okay.
Good question. Thank you, Lindsay.
Stephanie, actually.
Definitely, sorry.
Of course. And also after this, everything that he went over today, not only am I gonna have the video ready for everybody in the email that I send out after, but I'll also have in that email the documentation, because there's documentation for consignment that's already made, and there's a KB up for it. There's documentation for those advanced security features, and I have some documentation I could just dump in that email about all the preferences he went over, also like a list of those preferences that he went over, because there's like 6 or 7 of them there. So it'll all be in the email after this. And we got another question in chat saying, how can I make it so my employees can log in with 2FA again? When it was first released, we weren't able to log in, so everyone disabled it.
Okay, we're gonna add that to the user section. So we're gonna add that to the user section over here. Re-enable 2FA. For now, just send us a case, and we'll do it in the back end tonight.
All right, perfect. Thank you. And are there any other questions about the added features or anything that we've talked about in the webinars leading up to this?
I have a question, kind of. I don't know if it's
Go for it.
okay. So before, I know we had talked about stuff that's on transactions. Like we're doing a inventory of our whole warehouse, and there's a lot of locations that we need to just take out that do not exist at all anymore, or bins. But they're still connected to a transaction. So is there a button or a feature that we can use that we can like delete all this?
Okay, so if there's transactions in there, I'm going to show you, but the first thing is to remove all the inventory from those. Okay. In other words, you want to do a count, right?
Mm-hmm.
And zero them all out. Okay.
Okay.
Once that's done, you make it inactive.
Okay. I mean,
you just make it inactive, and it just won't show up anymore.
Okay. Because we've got like 17,000 pages.
You can do it via import.
Okay.
You can do it all during both the updating of the bins and doing your count. You can import and do all that.
Okay.
All righty, and final call for questions. If you want to, you can either unmute your mic or you can ask your question in chat.
No one has any questions? Well, you know where to reach us. support@ordertime.com.
Yep.
We're here, ready to answer your questions.
Yeah, and a lot of these features were added because of questions like these, you know, especially like from Kurt about that import line item for consignment. We'll get on that. We'll create a JIRA right after this meeting.
I already did.
Nice. Gotcha. All right.
On top of it.
All right. Thank you, everybody. It
Thank
seems
you,
like
guys.
we've
Thanks.
reached the end. Have a
Alrighty.
good one.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.